Slappy, I was 9 years old when my mother brought Slappy home. It was my birthday. At the time, I thought he was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. He was a ventriloquist dummy, about 3 feet tall with slick black hair, bright blue eyes, and a permanent grin carved into his wooden face. He wore a tiny black suit and red bow tie. His smile looked wrong, not creepy, just like he knew something nobody else did. My mother found him at an old antique shop outside town. The owner had practically given him away. "Take him," the old man said. My mother laughed. Now I wish she'd listened to the fear in his voice. The first week was normal. I carried Slappy everywhere. I'd sit him beside me during cartoons. I'd prop him up at the dinner table. I'd even tuck him into bed beside me. My dad thought it was hilarious. "That doll's got more manners than you do." Mom didn't laugh. She hated the way its eyes seemed to follow people. Every time she'd walk through a room, she'd find Slappy facing her, watching, smiling. She told herself she was imagining it. At least that's what she told us. Then the dog died. Our golden retriever, Max. One morning, we found him in the backyard. His body looked twisted, broken. Like something had grabbed him and bent him in directions a living thing wasn't supposed to bend. My father said a wild animal must have attacked him. The vet disagreed. There were no bite marks, no claw marks, just shattered bones. Mom looked terrified. I remember her staring through the kitchen window at Slappy sitting on the counter, watching us, smiling. Things got worse. A little girl from next door disappeared. The entire neighborhood searched. Police, dogs, volunteers, news crews, nothing. Then another person vanished. An elderly man who lived down the street, gone, no evidence, no clues. People locked their doors at night. Nobody walked alone anymore. The neighborhood became silent. Like everyone was waiting for something horrible to happen. Mom started hearing noises, footsteps at night, tiny footsteps, tap, tap, tap. Across hardwood floors, Dad blamed stress. But Mom began staying awake until dawn. She said someone was moving through the house, watching her, waiting. One night she saw Slappy standing outside our bedroom, by himself, his head tilted sideways. His smile stretching across his face, she screamed. Dad bolted upright. When he turned on the light, Slappy was gone. Mom searched every room. Eventually, she found him sitting on my bed, exactly where I'd left him. Dad thought she was having a breakdown. They argued constantly after that. The next morning, Mom found mud on the floor, tiny footprints. Not human, not animal, doll-sized. They led directly to my room. That was when she started suspecting Slappy. She searched the internet, old newspaper archives, anything. Eventually she found stories, dozens of them, different states, different decades. The same doll, the same face. The same smile, families destroyed, disappearances, murders, fires. Every story ended with Slappy vanishing, only to appear somewhere else years later, waiting for another family. Mom tried convincing Dad. He refused to listen. "You sound insane," she cried, begged, pleaded. But nobody believed her. Not Dad, not the police, not me. I thought she was losing her mind. Then people started dying. A teenager was found in the woods. His body looked like he'd fought something. Deep scratches covered his arms. Chunks of flesh missing. His face frozen in absolute terror. The sheriff couldn't explain it. Nobody could, Mom knew. Or at least she thought she did. One night she woke to laughter, a child's laughter, coming from downstairs. She grabbed a flashlight and slowly descended the stairs. The house was dark, silent. Then she saw him, Slappy, standing in the living room, not sitting, standing. His wooden jaw moving, laughing. His eyes glowing in the darkness. Mom froze. The doll slowly turned toward her, then it spoke. "Nobody believes you." Its voice sounded like splintering wood. Nobody ever does. She ran upstairs screaming. Dad searched the house, found nothing. By morning, Slappy sat on the couch exactly where he'd always been, smiling, waiting. Dad finally decided to get rid of him. He drove 20 miles into the woods, buried Slappy beneath 6 feet of dirt, came home relieved. The next morning, Slappy sat at the breakfast table, covered in dirt, smiling. That was when Dad finally became afraid. The killings escalated. The family down the street was slaughtered. Police said it looked like someone had broken in. The father was found with his throat ripped open. The mother had been stabbed dozens of times. Their son disappeared completely. The town descended into panic. Curfews, roadblocks, armed patrols, nothing helped. Slappy grew bolder. He appeared everywhere, in closets, under beds, at windows, watching, always smiling. Sometimes Mom would find messages scratched into walls. "I see you, you're next. Nobody can save you." The final night began with a power outage. The entire neighborhood went dark. Rain hammered the house. Thunder shook the windows. Mom found Slappy sitting at the end of the hallway, his eyes reflecting flashes of lightning. He wasn't smiling anymore, he looked angry. Then Dad screamed, a horrible scream. The kind you never forget. Mom ran downstairs. I followed. Dad lay on the kitchen floor, blood everywhere, his chest torn open, his pistol lying nearby. Slappy stood on top of him, covered in blood, holding a kitchen knife almost as large as himself. His jaw snapped open impossibly wide, like a snake. "He's mine," the doll shrieked. Mom grabbed the pistol. Slappy lunged. The thing moved impossibly fast. Its wooden hands slashed her face as she fired. Boom. The bullet hit Slappy's shoulder. Wood exploded, but he kept coming, laughing, screaming, crawling across walls and ceilings, like some monstrous spider. The battle tore through the house. Furniture shattered, windows exploded. Blood stained the floors. Mom fought like an animal. Every time she shot him, he got back up. Chunks of wood flew from his body, his face cracked, his eye burst. Still he laughed. Finally, Slappy tackled her. Tiny hands wrapped around her throat. His fingers dug into flesh. I watched my mother choke, her face turning blue. The doll leaned close, his broken grin stretching wider. "Your soul will taste wonderful." Mom reached blindly for the pistol, found it, pressed it beneath Slappy's chin, and pulled the trigger. Boom. The top of his head vanished, wood, blood. Something black and rotten spraying across the room. The doll collapsed, twitching, screaming. Not with a human voice, with hundreds of voices, men, women, children, all shrieking at once. The body began burning. Black smoke poured from the cracks. The smell was unbearable. Like rotting meat left in the sun for years. The screaming continued for nearly a minute, then suddenly stopped. Silence. Slappy lay motionless. Nothing but a charred wooden corpse, finally dead. Police blamed a home invasion. They never believed Mom's story. Nobody did. Dad was buried. The neighborhood slowly recovered. Life moved on. 3 months later, my mother died. Not from injuries, not from illness. She simply stopped sleeping, stopped smiling, stopped living. She spent every night staring at shadows, listening, waiting. She said she could still hear Slappy laughing. Just beyond the walls, years passed. I tried forgetting. I almost succeeded. Then last month, I was walking through an antique store, just browsing, until I saw him. A ventriloquist dummy, black hair, blue eyes, red bow tie. A crack running through his face, where a bullet had shattered him years ago. And hanging from the price tag was a handwritten note, "Free to a good home." The doll's eyes seemed to lock onto mine. And for the briefest moment, I swear, I saw his smile move.